Should everyone be in therapy all of the time? Now, you probably think that as a therapist, my answer is yes. My answer is not yes. I was having a conversation recently with a friend of mine who was saying, you're a therapist, you must think everyone should be having therapy all of the time. Obviously, I think therapy has a really important place for many people at certain chapters of their lives. I think everyone benefits from understanding themselves, understanding the world, understanding how their structures, history, patterns show up in the world, and particularly having tools and strategies to be able to change that. And the goal of therapy, one of the goals of therapy, should be that people become more empowered in their lives. And if what we learn is whenever I struggle, I go to my therapist and they basically take care of me and hold space to allow me to feel my feelings, we're becoming dependent, right? The goal of the therapist should be to help the client to learn how to do that for themselves. I talk a lot in my work about we all have 3 core emotional needs. The goal of therapy is not for the therapist to meet the needs for us. The goal of therapy is to empower us to meet the needs for ourselves. Also, what works in therapy isn't what works in every context of life. I remember many years ago, I was having a really difficult situation in one of the businesses. And I was talking to my therapist about it. And my therapist was like, okay, so here's what you need to do. You need to get everyone in a circle, all the people in the company, and you need to have them all express how they feel. And I thought about it, and I was like, that is like the worst possible idea in that particular context. Not saying there wouldn't be a place for that. The problem in that context was there was a void of leadership and a lack of clear direction, and the company was being pulled in too many directions because of too many different expressions and feelings, and a lack of coherence and a lack of leadership. And it's a little bit like this. If you go to a butcher and you ask, what should I have for dinner tonight? I don't know what they're going to tell you to have for dinner, but I know it's going to have meat in it. If you go to a fishmonger and you say, what should I have for dinner tonight? Well, no, it's going to have fish in it. If you go to a vegan cafe, whatever you have is not going to have meat or fish in it. The lens and the perspective of therapy is a really helpful lens for certain things in our lives. But it's not the only lens, and it's not the way from which everything in our life needs to be approached. And if everywhere we go, we need everyone to know our trauma and how we feel about everything and our sensitivities and our reactiveness, we need the world to change and to adapt, to respond like our therapist perhaps does, to make us feel safe and loved and so on, I feel like we've fundamentally missed the point of our life, which is we have to be able to be around different people in different places and meet our own needs. And yes, cultivate friendships and relationships that are mutually supportive and healthy and so on. But there is a place we can do too much therapy. There is a place where therapy isn't the right thing, the right answer. I'm in danger of opening up a can of worms here, but I'd be really interested to hear in the comments, like, what are the downsides of therapy? Either bad experiences you've had or the things you reflect on, you think, actually, if that therapist or that therapeutic approach had been different, then actually it would have been more beneficial and more helpful. Because we have to be able to we can't just talk about all the good sides of any approach. We've got to be able to talk about the potential downsides as well. So I'm really curious, I might regret this, but I'm really curious in the comments below the video, what are the potential downsides of therapy?